Hi guys, Rhoda here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. On today's video, I will be reviewing a blog series, and I know it's something which is quite different from what I usually do, but African writers, they come in various ways. Some of them, they have ebooks which are not on hard copy, some of them they're bloggers, and some of them are actually storytellers. So on today's video, I chose to review one of my favorite stories, and that's called The Dark Mistress by Makaitahrogue. So Makaitahrogue is a blogger, she's an editor, she's a copywriter, she's a mom, she's a wife, and she's a jack of all trades. And what I like about her is that she's a very persistent writer, and she kind of writes things, or rather stories, which are outside of the norm. So the story which I'm going to review today is called The Dark Mistress, and I stumbled upon The Dark Mistress a few months ago when I was going through Twitter, and I was so engrossed in it. I couldn't wait for her to release the next part, because it's in seven parts, or seven parts. And what I like about this story is different. You know, like usually when you're writing about the dark mistresses, rather, they're more of like the scorned woman, or they're kind of doing it because, you know, they don't have financial aid. But what I liked about this story is the dark mistress rather, whose name is Sasha. She was so in love with Nerudo. Nerudo is the man she ends up with, or who she's cheating with. So the book has like a couple of topics which stood out for me. Like always, I like discussing different topics in like African literature, because it kind of gets people talking, people thinking, and like, you know, changing like how they think. And one of the topics which stood out for me was like people who are very ambitious and who are go-getters, and that was shown in Sasha. She was so determined to have this man, and it was not because of his money, because like I said before, most times you think like women, when they cheat or when they want something or when they become a mistress, is only because they want money. But with this one, she actually loved the guy, not what he had, and it was so hard for her to let go. She ended up resorting to like going to a witch doctor, which I do not condone, but for some reason other people understand it and do it. And I think it's something that we also need to look at, because people don't believe this kind of things happen. I myself, I don't know if you guys know this, but if you know Oloni, she's like this UK based influencer, and she talks a lot about, you know, sex and things that happen, you know, in relationships, sexual education. And she does threads, and there's this thread when she was saying, she was asking women to send them, you know, like screenshots, or telling them what's the worst thing they've done to keep a man. And I will not lie to you guys, people are doing the most to keep people in new relationships. I remember there was a girl, I know, like I'm like getting out of topic, but anyway, I think this kind of also shows you how much people like who go to stay in a relationship, like women were using like certain things like to put in the boyfriend's food so that they eat, so that they keep them. And there's a woman who actually confessed that she bewitched one of her boyfriends when she was still in college, and it was 4 years ago, and up to now he's still hung up on her. Like after every 3 weeks, even though they're broken up and she doesn't want him anymore, he's still hung up on her. So that's how, you know, people actually end up doing this. And I like that African literature at times, or if not in all cases, is actually based on things that are happening. So that was one of my favorite topics, of how women, I know like society tries to like portray us as like meek, humble, you know, and also we like that, you know, we like being seen as people who are harmless, who would never do that. But a woman scorned, guys, a woman scorned. Another topic that really stood out for me was like betrayal in friendships. Like Nerudo's best friend was Farai Jongo, who was known as FJ. FJ ended up like cheating with his best friend's wife, and I think there's discussions which people really don't talk about, or I've never really heard people talking about it. Usually it's women are, you know, oh, she stole my best friend's man, you know, she's trying to get the man. But rarely have I heard of like men actually going after the best friend's wives. And with this one, it actually seemed like the thing is, with FJ was actually like a Casanova. He liked women, like he was a nymphomaniac, and he had like 7 baby mamas with 9 kids. But apparently he actually fell in love with Melissa, who was Nerudo's wife. And it kind of has you think that at times, not that I'm condoning this, but it kind of has you think that, you know, sometimes love is not always as straightforward as you think. You know, myself, I'm quite conservative when it comes to this kind of thing. I'm kind of a person who likes things which are straightforward, but it doesn't always happen like that. So it seems like with FJ and Melissa, they were actually in love with each other. And knowing that FJ was a player, he seemed to be very sprung on Melissa, and he was like, you know, ready to tell Nerudo, he was ready to like lose his best friend over this woman. And I think these are things we should never really talk about. It's usually the woman, and it's never, I think we stop at looking at it when it comes to like the betrayal part, but we also ignore like the love part, which I don't know if it's love or not, because like I said before, the way which I look at love is quite different. But that's the thing with African literature, it actually like gets you out of your comfort zone for you to actually like learn and try to analyze things. And it really got me thinking that, you know, at some point it wasn't entirely Nerudo's fault why he was cheating, because he was bewitched. And obviously like he gave in, you know. Like I would never like cheating. Like I said, I think a couple of videos back I was talking about like one of the poems by Rumbizai, and she was talking about like there was something about cheating, and for me it's something which is very big and I could never excuse it. But at some point it seems like with Nerudo, he was actually bewitched and it was beyond his control, because I think in one of the series there's actually like where it says that there was like a tag, he felt like a tag, he couldn't like resist her. And you could also see that like what Sasha was doing, she was like going to a sangoma, she was like in the middle of the night, she was in a room naked calling on his name. So I think like at times it's not entirely the person's fault, there could be evil spirits behind. But I believe people also have to take accountability, because I think you also have played a hand in it. But yeah, it really got me thinking though. Like if you ask my friends, like when it comes to this topic, I'm very like, no, you know, I feel like people intentionally do it. But after reading this story, then I'm like, oh, wow. Another important topic which is brought out in the book was like childhood trauma, because Sasha, as we get to know, I think it's like in the 3rd or 4th chapter, it kind of gives like a backstory of why she is the way that she was. So like the way she so clung on to Nerudo is because she never really had anyone to love her when she was young. So this was like a trauma bond with Nerudo, because she felt like she's found someone who she could have like, you know, for a long time, and she was not going to let go. And it kind of like showed in her childhood, because she was in a foster home and she never really got picked by anyone. And you know, because of that, it kind of like got to her that she didn't like, no one wanted her. And when Nerudo told her that he didn't want her anymore, I think it kind of like brought back old memories. And what I've noticed like with childhood traumas, like they come in different ways. Usually like your childhood will probably if not always, it pops up and it actually affects your adult life, which is why I think like most people, they need to like, you know, do some soul searching. I myself am doing some soul searching to really understand why I act in certain ways, why I am the way I am sometimes. And I think that's very important to like to understand, and for us to actually know why Sasha, not that it's good, but why she ended up like resorting to going to a witch doctor to actually keep Nerudo in her life. I also liked how like religion came into the story. It's quite interesting, to be honest, because there's also like there's witchcraft there, and then there's like Christianity, and how like Melissa's mother she like had this gut instinct that something was going to happen to her daughter, so she prayed for her. Even when like Melissa left her husband and went to her mother's house, she like prayed for her. So it kind of showed that, you know, like there's this saying, like this African or Zimbabwean saying, that the prayers of your mothers, they save you for so many things. So I really enjoyed seeing that like pop out, because like Sasha, she was out there for vengeance. I know there's a part when she like literally goes online, she wants to kill, you know, Melissa's baby, and she tries to kill her first, but it doesn't work out, and then she tries to kill the baby. So I kind of like how like religion is portrayed in that sense, and also how like there is witchcraft out there. Like people would do like anything to get what they want. So I think that was also important, because there's like a balance, and like when you're writing stories, you kind of need like, you know, a villain and like someone who's going through the most, and I think she really portrayed that very well. The other thing that I liked about the story was the ending. I don't know if you guys remember, like on my last videos I was saying like African authors, they don't care about our feelings anymore. They no longer do this thing of tying things in a bow and making it look pretty, the ending look pretty, you know, they're like gruesome. And I like that the ending actually ends with, you know, Sasha getting what she wants, which is rare, because in most cases the villain never gets away with everything. They kind of like, you know, end up, you know, being dead or being imprisoned, or like not being the victor at the end. But with this one, Sasha, she ends up being, you know, victorious. And I like that because it is a different take after being used to like reading stories where you kind of have like, you know, a happy ending, all of, you know, like where you had to settle. With this one, it kind of has you thinking, and I kind of like that kind of writing. Me myself, I have this tendency of always killing a character in my stories, so it was quite nice to see someone who kind of writes like, you know, thrillers and something which has romance in it, because it is like I would say the genre is thriller, but it kind of has like a lot of layers to it. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one, and I would definitely leave the link in the bio. So if anyone wants to read it, they can go on a page, and you can read all the 7 parts of the story. So that's it from me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and also we can talk about the story below, or you can actually comment on a website and tell her what you think, because I think it's very encouraging for like when people read bloggers' stories, for them to leave comments, for them to know, to learn what you guys like, what you don't like, so that we kind of grow. So until next time, bye.